Halloween H20 is about Laurie Strode, who left Haddonfield. She lives in California with her 17-year-old son. She's a teacher. She's changed her name, and she's hoping that every Halloween that Michael Myers will not find her. Well, it took 20 years, but Michael Myers did finally find her, and boy, what a cat and mouse game that this is going to be. Hey, everybody, how you doing out there? So this movie has a very special place in my heart, more than any other movie that I've just talked about or any of the other ones I'm going to be talking about. This was actually the first Halloween movie that I ever saw at the theaters, and I saw this with my mother. I believe I was 17, and I really did enjoy this movie. Always had a fun time with this movie. And just jumping right into, that's my first like of the likes, is that this movie has a lot of nostalgia power for me. From the very first time I saw this movie, all the way until just this recently last watch, I have always liked this movie here. It was always such a fun, always something awesome about this movie, no matter exactly what it was. I have changed a little bit, turning into this YouTube critic. I still have a lot of fun, even with what I'm going to be talking about, even with the dislikes. At least some of the stuff I still have actually fun with it. Let's go with some of the actors here. Let's go with Jamie Lee Curtis coming back as Laurie Strode. And as I mentioned, she changed her name. I can't remember the first name. Forgive me on that. I know the last name was Tate. And like I said, she's a teacher. She might even also be a principal. She goes through so much craziness in this movie. I mean, first off, she's very paranoid that she really thinks Michael Myers is going to come back after her again. And I really believe how much of a broken person that she was. I mean, she becomes an alcoholic in this movie. And again, I could see that because of the hell she went through in the first two movies, even though that 1 and 2 are supposed to be one long movie. It's just one was in 78, one was in 81. But still, I mean, she went through a lot of craziness in those two movies. But she's also the protector of her 17-year-old son. And it's really tough for her because she's worried about, she's thinking that she could be losing her son because of these mental breakdowns that she actually has. And then really when it comes to Act 3, she has to be powerful for herself, but for anybody else that she actually loves and actually cares for. She does such a great job in all aspects that she really needs to go through. Talking about her son, John, played by Josh Hartnett. Now, I'm sure a lot of people already know this, and I'm just doing a little recap, but there could always be one or two people that's saying, after all these years, I did not know about that. This was Josh Hartnett's very first movie. And he actually had a second movie also in 1998. This was his first one, and he also, a few months later, he was in the movie called The Faculty. I recommend that one there too. He has such great chemistry with every actor in this film here. It's not just his mom, with his girlfriend. He has great chemistry with his other friends, teachers, the security guard. He's such a lovable guy. Just like I said about Jamie Lee Curtis in the very first Halloween movie, this is Josh's first movie, and he hits it out of the park. I was satisfied with everything he has to go through. There's even a scene where him and Jamie Lee Curtis get into it, and even at first he's kind of uncomfortable with his mother yelling at him, but then he actually kind of turns the tables a little bit on her, and she starts feeling a little bad, and I really did enjoy that scene. That was a very powerful scene. Laurie Strode is actually dating the school counselor. I can't remember the character's name or even the actor's name, but the only thing I really want to say about this guy, other than his acting was really good, just like the other two I just mentioned, he is cool, calm, and collect throughout this entire movie. Even whenever there's danger going on, he does such a terrific job, and I really enjoy every scene that we get him actually in him. I even like the small part with Janet Leigh, who was in Psycho. I know she's been in a lot of other movies, but that's always the one people really remember if you've seen Psycho and you recognize her in this movie, which is kind of cool. Janet Leigh is the mother to Jamie Lee Curtis, so kind of cool that they got a chance to work together in a Halloween movie. I thought was really awesome. And then you got Joseph Gordon-Levitt at the early end of the movie, and he's fantastic in his little part that he actually gets. I really enjoy the story. It's just a simple and plain story. Such an easy movie to digest. I really did like the script. I thought the dialogue was really good. I think it was a smart and really enjoyable script. I definitely thought it was entertaining. It was fun. I mean, there's even moments in here that is very funny that I really do like. I feel like it was placed perfectly in the scenes when it came to humor. I thought this was directed very well. This was actually directed by Steve Miner. Now, some people may or may not recognize that name. He also actually directed 2 Friday the 13th movies that I love. And it was Friday the 13th Part 2 and Part 3. If you've seen my ranking videos, you know that they are both up there very high on my list. Even one of those two is my number one. I enjoy what this guy brings. Again, he may not be some big-time director, but this guy still knows how to direct, especially when it comes to horror movies. I don't know if he's ever directed anything outside of the horror community of movies, but I just thought this was directed very well. When it comes to Act 3, I will definitely say that this has to be the perfectest out of this entire franchise, and I'm even saying about the ones I haven't even watched yet. Very perfect Act 3. I love everything that went through to it. As soon as you have Laurie Strode, she actually has an axe in her hand and she screams Michael. And as soon as she screams his name all the way until just before the credits, I loved everything. I loved the cat and mouse game between these two. The fights that they actually get into, I thought was really, really good. And then the final is going to be the ending. I mean, I love the whole thing about Act 3, but like the last maybe minute or two of this was definitely a damn good way that they should have actually ended this movie, or at least this particular timeline. They should have not had the next one, and they could have still did your remake with Rob Zombie's 1 and 2 later on, and this is how it should have really went down. Moving on to the dislikes, with some of the actors, LL Cool J, he plays the security guard at the school. I think he does a good job with his acting. I really do like him as an actor, and I do like him as a singer. But unfortunately, he doesn't have a whole lot to do in this movie. A lot of times he's actually on the phone. I'm assuming it's with his girlfriend, and I think she's with child. He wants to become a writer, romantic novels he wants to do. And the thing was that it just feels like that's really all the baseline was for him, and there really wasn't a whole lot. There was maybe 1 or 2 things that actually happened to him. I kind of felt bad for you on that particular scene or two. Other than that, I just didn't care for him. Michael Myers himself, I believe, was played by Chris Duran. He does a good job too, just like LL Cool J, of what he's supposed to do. But it just feels like there's not a whole lot for him to actually do. I get it that his main goal is to go after Laurie Strode once again here. And, you know, he hardly ever really takes anybody out because he has a lot of planning going on. Now, unfortunately, unlike George P. Wilbur in Halloween 4, that I like the planning of Michael Myers going after Jamie Lloyd, but when it came to this planning, I was a bit bored with what Michael Myers was doing. Even though I get what the plan was, I just wanted to see a little bit more with him doing some more killings than the most that we actually get in this movie anyways. Unfortunately, isn't a whole lot. When it comes to the mask, there are 4 different masks, but I only really want to talk about 2 of them. And the thing was, the first one is, I feel like when it came to the mask, that it was a little too tight on this actor, stuntman. It seems like it was really so tight on his skin. You can really see his eyes, and you're never supposed to see Michael Myers' eyes. So that was a little bit disappointing. I do have to kind of blame a little bit on the director on that there. I think Steve Miner could have done a little bit better of trying to cover up the eyes. And then the other one, which is very obvious, and it's one of those blink and you miss it kind of things, is that they actually have in one quick scene a CGI mask. And I'm like, oh man. And when you do finally see it, you'll never lose that image in your head again, especially if you are a Halloween fan. It's just like, oh, that is so stupid. You got Michelle Williams, who has always been such a good actress in a lot of other stuff. I know she's been in TV, she's done other movies, but for whatever reason, every time that she opens up her mouth and says her dialogue, or if there's any narrative that she needs to do, it just almost bored me to death because it felt like that she didn't even really want to be in this movie. It just kind of felt like that she just didn't care. I mean, even whenever she's screaming for her life because she sees Michael Myers and Michael Myers is going after her. I completely didn't believe one thing that goes on with her here. And then the final dislike has got to be the kills. I kind of briefly mentioned it talking about Michael Myers, but when it came to the kills, they were very weak, very blob, didn't care much for them. There really wasn't any creativity with them. It really was no impact, just like Michael Myers. Felt like he had no really that much impact. I'd say except two of them that was very cool, and I will give a little bit of credit on some creativity on both of them without telling you who they are and what the kills are. But I really was hoping that we would have got a lot better kill and a little bit more kill count than what we got in this here. Halloween H20, I'm going to go 3 out of 4 stars. Have you seen this movie? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Give me a comment down below. We shall discuss it. Thank you guys so much for watching another video here, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.